Hi there. This is Craig Lane with Health Alchemy, and we're giving some free and easy tips here that I really appreciated when I was going into my health higher levels. And now at age 60, I'm in what I call the give back time of my life. And so today we're going to talk about some more practical matters that will benefit anybody. And we're going to talk about control elements. And no, it's not controlling people or being controlled, but we're going to talk about when we're in the summer, which means a lot of heat. So what controls fire? Because that's what we need to be working with, most of us. I mean, if you're on the coastlines and you got fog, then you're not dealing with as much of this. But so everybody knows that water controls fire. But earth can also smother fire, right? Like you throw a bunch of dirt on a small fire, it's going to go out. Wind tends to make fire worse. Air and oxygen tends to make fire worse. And so out of earth, air, water, and fire elements, well, water and earth control fire, and then fire and air or wind will make usually fire worse. And then in terms of flavors then, a hot, spicy food will make your fire worse. You know, there's that thing, when I eat cayenne peppers, I sweat and whatnot, and then that's a way to cool the body off because the water that comes out the skin, the wind blows on it and cools you off, but that's not an effective way to cool off. The control flavor for heat is bitter. That's right. The least favorite flavor for most people. So that's why coffee beans grow in the hot, humid climate, because they have a cold, dry energy. Nature's always doing this. It's making the opposite to balance you in the weather. That's what control elements are. So if you're in the summer heat, then you need cooling elements, right? Because you're in heat. You need moist elements because heat dries you out. So one of the best foods for that is seaweed, slightly salty. So mild salty will control fire, but heavy salt has fire in it, fire and earth. Fire and water. So you want to be careful with salt. You want to get a little bit to make the water work better. And then sour would be contraindicated in fire too, because that's earth and fire. So spicy's out, a lot of salt is out, and sour is out. So you've got watery foods, you've got sweet foods, right? They're a little bit sweet, not a lot sweet, because that'll dehydrate you and make you more hot in the end because you don't have less fluid volume. And so you got sweet and a little salty, well, spicy's out, and then bitter. Bitter is the most cleansing, effective control element for summer fire. So let's give you a few practical examples. That would be dandelion root. That would be Gentian, gentian root, artichoke leaf. Seaweed's one of the best. Chrysanthemum tea. A little bit of peppermint can be cooling. Catnip. Chase tree, vitex berries are like a cooling pungent, they call that. You could drink a little bit more water. You could find any bitter foods. So a couple of bitter greens like escarole and radicchio. They're not fun to eat for most people, but they are going to cool you off in the summer heat. So I'm too hot, I need to cool off. Then the remedy is, instead of having an ice cold drink, which is one of the worst things you can do, because the ice cold drink goes down into your intestines, freezes up your stomach, then the body has to make heat. That's right. The body has to make heat to warm that back up, and you end up in the long run causing depletion of chi or energy or prana, and you end up overheating again. That's why generally in Chinese medicine, which I spent a lot of time studying in macrobiotics, when you're hot, a lukewarm tea or a tea to open up the pores like peppermint would be a more effective solution. Now, a little bit of lemonade can be helpful in the heat because it keeps the water in the body, which might keep you cooler. So like lemonade with dandelion root, or lemonade with mint might work, but I'd be really careful with sour in the hot weather outside of a little bit of sour fruit that's mostly sweet. So you want sweeter fruits in the hot weather and more sour fruits in the cooler weather. Does that make sense? I hope so. So even fermented foods would be contraindicated when there's a lot of heat. And I know some of you might make the argument like, okay, I'm going to have my hot peppers and make myself sweat. But you're hot on the inside. That's why the sweat's coming out. So it's not even an effective strategy, especially when you're trying to preserve your water. It's all coming out because you've made yourself sweat. It's temporarily effective, yes. But control elements, then we'll start with just this basic example in the summer, and we'll go through more in the coming videos. Thank you very much.